Hey, what's up, everybody? So, there's a lot of things going on in the media. Krisna here.
Hey.
Jedi Steve here. There's a lot of things going on in the media. And there's a lot of, like, one of my things I love about the United States, and I haven't called the United States her until recently. And I love I'm more of a citizen of the world, but I'm also a United States citizen. And I love being part of the United States with all its flaws. I have, not always, I have unconditional love, or try to have unconditional love for her, United States. But I know we've had a history that a lot of that stuff I'm not responsible for at all. But as a citizen, I do take ownership in that and try to do my part to make her better. And how do I make her better? By being better myself. So I wanted to invite Krisna for us to have a conversation with a lot of things that are going on in society, with the exodus of some people that were immigrants that originally were indigenous to this area, that are being pushed out of the United States. And I'm not somebody that thinks we should open our borders to everybody, but also I'm not somebody that finds joy when people that are living here and have family here are being pushed out of our community.
Yeah.
So, without me asking a question, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah. I want to, contribute to the referring to lands by a specific name, and we can give it a gender quality, as you did, which I think is really beautiful. Because I also think of planet Earth as a her, she's our sacred mother. And these lands that are referred to as the United States by many of the indigenous peoples are referred to as Turtle Island. So sometimes I will use that term to refer to these lands. Sometimes I'll just say the other perhaps native words that I've come to learn from the different indigenous peoples in particular lands. I'm a California native, meaning there's been 3+ generations of us that have lived in these lands. And I have roots going back to Mexico. But really, these lands were part of Mexico once. So it's really interesting when we start using all these words, because then we have to think about, like, what timeline in the evolution are we speaking from, right? But yeah, I just want to share, like, also, if I say Turtle Island, you know what I'm referring to.
Got it. What's the origin of that, of Turtle Island? Like, where does that come about?
So the origin story, it's told by many different Native American and indigenous peoples of these lands, of the Americas. They say Turtle Island because the shape and the structure was similar to a turtle, and they had their origin story connected to understanding time, cycles of time, with like their 13 plates on their back and things like that, the 13 cycles, 13 moons of the year and things like that. So yeah.
Interesting. So I was talking with one of my friends the other day. Sorry, I'm going to say another story. So I currently do lift, and I was all of a sudden got a ride up, and it happened to be an acquaintance from my childhood.
Oh.
And for some reason, when I occasionally come across this guy, probably about 15 years ago, I was coming to him consistent because I didn't have a car, and when I was going over to my parents' house, I was walking by his family's house, and I would come across this guy, and I always had a feeling he didn't like me. And a lot of times I have that feeling, but for some reason, when he came up in lift and having him in my space of my car, my body went into fight or flight.
Right.
I was
You're like,
sweating.
I feel that energy.
I was sweating as I'm driving over to him. And I'm like trying to go in my head is like, I like almost was going to cancel on him. And this is somebody I know.
Right.
And I'm sure when my picture came up, because he knows I have dreads, even though I didn't have dreads when I was younger, I'm like in that realm, and I'm like, this isn't a good energy to be in. I like, if I'm in the zone, I don't even want to have it. I know we're not at the level that we would have gotten a fight, which there is always that possibility. There's always that possibility that would be open. But I was like in a zone that I was like, I don't want to do it. He was so nice. He opened up about trauma as a child and everything, just in a 17-minute ride situation. It took me 5 minutes from when he got into the car to calm down. Most people don't have the tools for that, to be able to calm down in that state of mind, and would say, oh, he's faking it, or whatever the situation, which he might have, but at least he respected me enough to be in that zone. A lot of times, if an animal is, if a lion chases a gazette, once the pursuit is done, that gazette's going to calm down. Us humans can carry in that trauma up to 14 generations.
Indeed. Yeah.
I believe that I'm not my best self. Krista's not her best self. And you in the audience aren't your best self when you're in that flight or flight energy, unless a lion's chasing you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anything you wanted to add to that?
I mean, yeah, it's very supportive of the last conversation we were having when we were kind of talking about fear and its impact in like making choices and just like your lifestyle and your health, you know? Yeah, for sure.
For sure. So I believe that compassion is the most productive energy in the universe. And I acknowledge and I see a lot of things that you see in society going on. But I choose to be better than those that harm me. Because a lot of times people want to point that anger back to the people of how they were harmed.
For sure, it's like that feeling of revenge or something. Somehow, it's the idea seems satisfying, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes this goes into pretty much every community. Sometimes when I hear feminists talk, it seems like the most patriarchal way of going about things.
I didn't say it.
I'm like, you're supposed to support me. She's like, throw him under the bus. I didn't say that. I snapped, but that can mean a lot of things. I see, but a lot of times they'll widen the circle. So I'll be in a group. I'll say I'm giving a ride to some passengers, and they say all men are horrible except for gay men because they have a gay friend that's there, and then they'll say and black men, and sometimes they won't even include me in that situation, and it's like
practicing the same separatist ideology or same approach that you feel oppressed you. How does that create the world that you want to live in?
For sure.